who runs the MAGES program, the MagFest Academic Symposium, and of course, my brother Farad. Activate. Oh yeah. That's the business. If you're wondering how come a random department head for SuperMag is addressing MAGCon, the answer is I could do this through an email, but well, you guys are all physically here, so it just seemed faster, and I wanted to mention a few things that we're doing that I thought would be relevant to many, hopefully most, if not all of you here, both other departments at SuperMag as well as people at other MagFest events. We're kind of at a weird spot as a department, and part of that is because as a matter of legacy, the way Super MagFest sort of grew up, you saw that growth chart from before. Only about half of what happens in the panel rooms is actually something the panels department is involved in, and our job is really very specific, and the resources we have to work with are pretty limited, and for that reason, if we want to do anything at all, we're dependent on other departments, and what we want to do at this point is begin to grow that out. For the last couple of years, again, if you heard Eli's frankly terrifying growth numbers, as the number of attendees has continued to balloon, the number of submissions we've been getting for panels has ballooned along with it, and mostly we've just been trying to keep up. Thanks to some heroic efforts by Eli and Rob to help us automate most of what we do and get it all in Uber, we're now in a position where we can keep up with the admin side of things, and we want to dramatically increase the quality of panels content. But to do that, we're going to need to cooperate with a lot of other people. We're going to need to cooperate with other departments within our programming division, with other departments outside our program division at SuperMag, with people in other MagFest events, with outside organizations, and we're going to need a lot of help and collaboration to do it. So that's what this is about. So I'm just going to take a minute or two, let you know what we're up to just very, very briefly. I'm not trying to derail the overall agenda of MagCon. If I pose a question, it's just to give you an idea of what we're thinking about and see if you're kind of in the same headspace, but I'm not asking for an answer or a discussion now, that would, we don't really have time for that, but we'd talk later. We as a panels department are re-examining our internal structure and how we're relating to each other and how we're relating again to other departments within our division and outside our division, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Et cetera. Our goal is to avoid stagnation, which is an increasing concern because we've pretty much, as I said, mastered the admin side of things, and now we've got to work on content. So I know I need to talk with some of you. Some of you I have already spoken with, but I wanted to invite other people to check in. First of all, like I said, the situation we're in now is a result of 15, 16 years of evolution, and some of the newer MagFest events who are just creating panels departments. If you're interested in some of the do's and don'ts of that history, we definitely want to invite you to reach out and talk to us, and we'd definitely like to talk to you about cooperating with some of the programs we're working on. People in other divisions at MagFest, I'll give you a small example of one of the things I'm talking about. I'm an English teacher by day outside of MagFest, and I have a network of people all over the world, and I've got interested in the fact that gaming is a universal language, and it exists in every country. So I just found out this past year there's an all-girl gaming convention, all-female gamer convention in Saudi Arabia with 3,000 attendees. And I really want to reach out to them and network with them and see what's going on. I already have done that, so I'm talking with them now. Also, apparently, I never would have believed it, but they actually manufactured arcade machines in the Soviet Union. And there are some really, really, really nice people in St. Petersburg who operate a museum of Soviet arcade machines. And I talked with them for 3 hours, and they're totally our people. They're awesome, and they're doing it for all the same reasons we do MagFest, and they really want to come. So things like that. But this is why I would need cooperation. Just for that, just as a for instance, I would need to work with the arcade people at MagFest who could talk about how you move an arcade machine across an ocean, and I would need resources and visa support, all that stuff. So that's an example of the kind of thing that all of my guys are working on, each with their own sort of agendas, and how much will happen this year and how much will happen next year or the year after that, we'll sort of wait and see. But the point of all this is as we start really focusing on upgrading the content that we're providing in the panel rooms and networking and collaborating much more robustly with all and sundry, we're kind of running into a big question about what kind of event we really are. MAGFest Inc. is about celebrating and promoting and educating with respect to the culture that's grown up around video games and interactive media. And you can't celebrate or promote or educate about a culture without talking about history and the roots of where things came from. So retro gaming and gaming history are always going to be a major chunk of it. But the question is, the question that we're asking, we panels, and if other departments are running into this too, that's what we'd like to talk with you about later, or if not, as we design our program, we want to be more synced up with what other departments are doing. Are we mostly a retro event focusing on gaming within living memory? For us, it would be like 8-bit, 16-bit. Our attendees are already kind of younger than that, so are we going to pretty much stay there? And in 10 years, will we all be over 50 and, I don't know. That's fine, totally cool, that's a great idea. I have no problem with that, but if that's what we're going to do, that would help me to know it, for us to start making decisions like that, because if it's more about living gaming culture and what's new and what's modern and what's interesting for all the little kids, who don't have family obligations and who can come here, that means different kinds of panels. Those are the panels we're getting submitted to us because we get content submitted by attendees. And again, what are other departments doing and what are other events within MAGFest focused on? And who would be willing to work with us and help us maybe work some of that out and what makes sense. Again, don't answer now, not even really to discuss at the moment, because I know there's an agenda that they've very kindly interrupted to let me talk. But think about it, and if you have input or questions or suggestions or thoughts, then by all means, please do get in touch with me, simply tom@magfest.org, or panels@magfest.org to talk to all these lovely people. And the international gaming thing is just sort of one thing that I'm working on. There's a bunch more other stuff like that we're all sort of processing, so definitely ask us about that too. But mostly just kind of the big organizational stuff. That's why I was hoping to address MAGCon for all of MAGFest Inc. So that's basically all I've got. Is there anything anyone else wants to say before we vacate? Anything I missed?
That's about it.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much for your attention and for your input.